What's up, guys? Welcome to Go Motoring YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to do a comparison between my 2007 BMW 328i Coupe and the 2020 Dodge Challenger SXT that I recently reviewed on my channel. So to kind of answer the question of why am I comparing these two vehicles, well, in many ways they're kind of similar, right? They're both rear-wheel drive two-door coupes that are derived from sedans, the Dodge Challenger being derived from the Dodge Charger, and obviously the BMW 328i Coupe being derived from the BMW 328i sedan. They both come equipped with six-cylinder engines. The BMW 328i comes equipped with the M52 naturally aspirated inline six engine, producing 230 horsepower and 205 of torque. And the Dodge Challenger comes equipped with a 3.6 liter V6 engine producing 305 horsepower and 268 pound-foot of torque. So, there's some, similarities, I guess, in the concept between the two cars, both being rear-wheel drive coupes with, six-cylinder engines. But I think the similarity kind of stops there, right? If you were to compare the two cars, just size-wise, the Dodge Challenger is a lot bigger than the BMW 328i. Significantly bigger. It feels like a bigger car. It almost feels like a 6 Series size-wise. It's, first of all, much heavier than the BMW 328i Coupe. The SXT weighs about 3,858 pounds, almost 3,800 pounds. Whereas the BMW 328i Coupe weighs 3,350, so 500-pound difference. The Dodge Challenger has a longer wheelbase. It's longer, it's wider, and it's taller, right? So pretty much in every dimension area, it's bigger than the BMW 328i Coupe by a significant amount, like 8 to 10 inches in each area, sometimes more. And you feel that, right? When you're driving the two cars, the BMW 328i feels like a smaller and more nimble car, a sharper car, whereas the Dodge Challenger SXT feels like a much bigger car. A car that's wider, longer, has more room on the inside, and is, in some ways more comfortable to drive. But the 328i is a much sharper vehicle, and really handles like a sports car. Looks wise, both cars are very good looking cars. I think a lot of it is going to come down to your preference. If you like muscle cars and kind of that brawny look on a vehicle, then you're probably going to like the Dodge Challenger SXT better. If you kind of like the sophisticated, sleek, high-class design, then you're probably going to like the BMW 328i Coupe better, the E92. So it really is, those sorts of things are always relative to me. The BMW 328i is a better looking car. I just think it looks sleeker and more sophisticated, but I think it's also one of the reasons I like it is because I think it suits my personality better. From the exterior, both cars look great. They look different, very different from each other, and it just kind of depends on what you prefer. I know I prefer the 328i Coupe. On the interior, there's no contest. The BMW 328i has much nicer interior than this base Dodge Challenger SXT that I reviewed. It's got leather seats, soft touch materials everywhere. It just has a much higher quality feel on the inside than the Dodge Challenger SXT has. So to me, there's really no contest in terms of the quality of the materials on the interior. In terms of the driving dynamics, like I said, it's even though these cars come equipped with pretty different engines in terms of the horsepower output. The Dodge Challenger has 75 horsepower more than the BMW 328i, and it's got 68 pound-foot of torque more than the BMW 328i. But despite that, those numbers, the numbers they post 0 to 60 time, quarter-mile times are about the same at 6 seconds 0 to 60. And really the only explanation for that is, there's a couple, right? Number one, the Dodge Challenger SXT weighs more. It's 500 pounds heavier, so even though it's got more horsepower and more torque, that weight kind of offsets that higher those higher horsepower and torque outputs. And as a result, it's not faster than the BMW 328i. And then I think also just traditionally BMW has been known to kind of understate its horsepower ratings. And there have been some articles that even though the stock horsepower numbers for a BMW 328i are 230 horsepower, I read a couple articles when the car was first released that where the car really felt like it had 250, 260 horsepower stock. So performance-wise, they're pretty similar in terms of acceleration and things of that nature. Handling-wise, the BMW 328i, in my opinion, handles much better. It's much more neutral. It's much more responsive. It's much sharper, like on curvy roads. The SXT just feels like a much bigger car, and it's not. They're basically in a different category of cars in terms of handling and responsiveness and sharpness. I think that just going back to the engines that we were talking about, the M52 is a much more charismatic engine than the V6 in the Dodge Challenger SXT. It's with the M52, the way that the engine is designed is to help. Is you're really encouraged to rev the car out, right? Like, so you want to rev the car out, you want to get into that higher RPM range, and kind of really extract the maximum power out of that car, out of the engine by revving it out. The V6 and the Dodge Challenger is not like that. So as a result, the 328i has a much more engaging engine. I will say that what's a little bit nicer about the Dodge Challenger SXT than the BMW 328i Coupe is that on the highway, when you're in the top gear on the highway, in the Dodge Challenger SXT, you're only at if you're driving like 80 miles per hour, your rev counter is at 1200 RPM, right? So you can feel like you're going, you can go very fast on a highway, and the car doesn't, feel like it's, struggling or trying to go, you don't feel that the engine's working super hard for you to achieve those numbers, those high-speed numbers, because the rev counter, the revs are so low, even at high rate of speed. Whereas if you compare it to my 328i, the way the gearing is set up is that even if you're in 6th gear with my manual transmission car, and I think the same thing with the automatic, because it only had 6 gears in the E92 generation, E90 generation. But even when you're like at 80 miles per hour in a 6th gear, the rev counter is approaching between like 2,700 and 3,000 RPM. So it almost the RPMs are almost like twice as much as they are in the Dodge Challenger at the same rate of speed. And as a result, the engine's a little bit louder, and you kind of have the sense that the car's working a little bit harder to be at those speeds. And I don't think it necessarily is. I think that's just how the engine's set up, how the gearing's set up, because in 6th gear, like if you're around 2,700, 3,000 RPM, that's like the perfect RPMs to be at to get the maximum acceleration while the car is moving at a rate of speed. Because typically the way that the M52 engine works is once you get over 3,000 RPMs up to 3,500 RPMs, then you hit the gas, and it really starts to accelerate quickly and rapidly once the revs are beyond 3,000 RPM. So, but anyway, I think that if I'm trying to be fair and I'm trying to say what's what is Dodge Challenger better at than the BMW 328i, I'd say probably just if you're going to be on a highway cruising at a high rate of speed, it's just a more relaxing car to be in. And also it kind of being a little bit wider, having a longer wheelbase, just on those long straightaways, it's just a perfect car to kind of settle in at and just cruise at a high rate of speed. So final thing I'll include, obviously the prices. These cars were released at different times, but you can get a brand new Dodge Challenger SXT for under $30,000, which I think is saying a lot. Obviously, you can get used BMW 328i's from the E90, E92 generation for a lot less, but they were probably it's got to be a used car, probably a high mileage car, and one that you're gonna have to spend quite a bit of money maintaining, whereas you wouldn't have to do that with a brand new car. That is the Dodge Challenger SXT. So obviously it's going to be, the Dodge Challenger is going to be cheaper than BMW, so that shouldn't really be a surprise. So I think that's it. I think both cars are great looking cars. Obviously I drive a BMW 328i Coupe, and what my preference is. I mean, I just think it's a better car. It's a more fun car to drive, more engaging car to drive, better balance, better steering feel, more engaging engine. But so that would be my pick, hands down. But the Dodge Challenger SXT is a good car in its own right, and if you're on a budget, you should definitely consider getting one of those, because it really is an amazing deal. All right, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more videos. There'll be a lot more videos coming your way. Thanks, guys.